Amen.
You might have had me till I had to be prepared.
Alright, so questions again. So here,
And I can type on here.
you can type here.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, praise the mighty Yahweh. Welcome to the house of Yahudah. We're going to do our opening up for our Sabbath services with a reading out of the book of, let's see what Psalms did I choose for this week to open up with. Psalms 96. We're going to do the Psalms reading, and then once we do the Psalms reading, there are 3 Psalms that I would like to read. Psalms 96, 97, and 100. Then I'll sing the Shema, and then we'll go into testimony. So now let's open up with the reading out of Psalms 96. That'll be our first reading. Let's face the east. And as we all take a verse, you know what? Don't have to face the east. I'm going to do something different. We're all going to take a verse from these Psalms, and we're going to read the verses together. So the first Psalms reading that we're going to open up with is Psalms 96. I'll start with the first verse. No, I won't. I'll have my elder start with the first verse.
Oh, sing unto Yah a new song. Sing unto Yah all the earth.
Sing unto Yahweh. Bless his name. Shew forth his salvation from day to day.
Declare his glory among the heathen. Heathen, his wonders among all people.
For great is Yah, mighty to be and highly to be praised, is to be feared above all deities.
For all the Elohim of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens.
Honor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in his sanctuary.
Give unto Yah, O ye kindreds of the people. Give unto Yahweh glory and strength.
Give unto Yahweh the glory due unto his name. Bring an offering and come into his courts.
O worship Yah in the beauty of holiness. Fear before him all the earth.
Say among the nations, Yah reigneth. The world also is established that it cannot be moved. He shall judge the peoples with equity.
Let the heavens rejoice, and let the earth be glad. The seas roar, and the fullness thereof.
Let the field be joyful, and all that is therein. Then shall all the trees of the wood rejoice.
Before Yah, for he cometh to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness, and the people with his truth.
Praise Yahweh. Let's go ahead and start at Psalms 97. Start at that first verse as well, my elder.
Yah reigneth, let the earth rejoice, let the multitude of owls be glad thereof.
Clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne.
A fire goeth before him and burneth up his enemies around about.
His lightnings lightened the world. The earth saw and trembled.
The hills melted like wax at the presence of Yahweh, at the presence of Yah of the whole earth.
The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory.
Confounded be all that they that serve graven images, that boast themselves of idols. Worship him, all ye deities.
Zion heard and was glad, and the daughters of Yahudah rejoiced because of thy judgments, O Yahweh.
For though Yahweh, art high above all the earth, thou art exiled, far
Exalted.
exalted, far above all deities.
O ye that love Yah, hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked.
Light and song for the righteousness, and gladness for the upright in heart.
Rejoice in Yahweh, ye righteousness, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness.
Praise Yahweh. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now let's go over to Psalms 100. Why don't you start with the first verse in Psalms 100?
Yes. Make a joyful noise unto Yahweh, all ye lands.
Serve Yahweh with gladness. Come before his presence with singing.
Know ye that Yahweh, he is Elohim. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture.
Enter in his gates with thanksgiving, and his courts with praise. Give thanks unto him and bless his name.
For Yahweh is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
How did y'all feel reading them verses? I could have read them all.
I mean, I guess empowered, for lack of better words.
For me, it was just, especially in, I think it was, in Psalm 96, when it's saying, sing unto Yahweh a new song, sing unto Yah all the earth. The Almighty wants us to sing songs to Him. We
Praise Yahweh.
sing songs to all these other people, so He's asking us to do that. And it's a glory to be able to sing, to have a voice to sing, even if it's not a good one. Just sing.
Praise
I
Yahweh.
like that one.
Praise Yahweh. I want to go back to Psalms. Let's see, right? Psalms 97. Let's go back to, there's a verse I wanted to read. Oh, and before I go any further, let me first say, I started getting on a roll. Just wanted to make sure I got the Psalms reading out. Welcome to the house of Yahudah. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. If it's not, welcome back, family. I'm Minister Mike Hill Israel. This is, of course, a live broadcast. You are able to ask questions and share in your wisdom that Yahweh is giving you. And we'll be broadcasting. The first portion usually goes from 12 to 2:30. Depending on if if there are any questions, then we might go to 3 o'clock maybe. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to stand before the great congregation of Yahweh. It's not my congregation. All I am is a minister. That's all I am. This house of Yahudah does not belong to me. This is a place that Yahweh has allowed us to worship Him in. So, if you have any questions, any comments that you may have, you may ask them. I don't get into debates necessarily. I have, but I'm winking away from getting into debates on the Sabbath day. If there's something that I teach that you happen to disagree with, you are more than welcome to, excuse me, we can talk after Sabbath. If you want to, because some people just like to show how smart they are. So if you want to have an open debate, you can do that on another day. I'm not against debating, but I'm also against debating on the Sabbath day. Because this is Yahweh's day. This ain't about you and it's not about me. If you have questions, ask any questions that you want to have. Even if the questions don't pertain to my topic, you can ask questions. I don't mind questions at all. Alright? And we got the preliminaries out the way. Let's go ahead and I wanted to do that, but there was a particular verse that I wanted to talk about real quick. Let me see. And I wanted to ask you guys a question about it. Go to Psalms 97. And let's look at verse number 10. Hannah, would you read verse 10 for me, please? Psalms 97.
He that love Elohim hate evil. He preserveth the soul of his saints. He delivered them out of the hands of the wicked.
Thank you. So the first part of that paragraph was, ye that love YAH hate evil. What does it mean to hate evil? That sounds like a simple question, but to some it may not be as simple. What does it mean to hate evil?
Not like anything wicked.
Okay. What's wickedness?
Opposite of righteousness.
Opposite of righteousness. Very good. Give me some examples. I would like everyone in here to give me an example, even y'all fellas. I ain't gonna sit here and be quiet and be nodding out. I ain't having that. I want everybody to give me an example of wickedness. Give me an example of what evil is. What you think it is. Because if you can't give me an example, then how can we know what wickedness or evil is?
Being deceitful.
Being, my brother Tamara said being deceitful. Sister Hannah, you said what, baby?
Not having a conscience, but like when you act on things, like
Okay.
you have to have a good conscience to behave well in a sense. Like, if your conscience is wicked, then you're gonna be acting on wicked things.
Right. So give me an example of being wicked.
So,
I get what you're saying, but just give me an example.
so a bad conscience would be like, oh, I'm hungry, but I don't got money, but there's a store there, so let me go, try to get me something to eat without paying. Like, that would be evil. That would be wickedness. Like, your intentions are good because you want to feed yourself, but the way you're going about it is bad.
Okay, so stealing. Okay, good. Give me an example of evil.
Being a talebearer.
What's a talebearer, man? See, when you give an answer, I like explanations. And I'm only doing that, I'm not picking on you, but the reason I'm doing it is because you guys are very intelligent. I've heard you guys. So give me, what's a talebearer, man? It's kind of in the title of what it is. Tales of stories. You're a bearer of stories. A talebearer is usually someone who tells other people business. A talebearer is not always a liar either. That's one thing that I realized, that a talebearer don't have to be a liar all the time. A talebearer could be somebody that just tells people, I'm going to use people, just tells people's business. Always got us, oh, did you hear this? Talebearers are very infamous for starting out that conversation with, girl or man, did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear about such and such? Did you hear about? Did you see? Did you see? I'm not saying that's how they start out all the time, but most of the time, it'll start out with, did you hear about? And usually when that happens, it's a talebearer in the midst. Because a righteous person will hear something and they'll keep it to themselves. You can share your business with someone that's righteous. You say, well, why? Because a righteous person, especially if you tell them, hey, this stays between you and me. How many of us in this room have been talebearers? I know somebody in here done told. I know somebody in here done told somebody business.
I am not perfect.
There you go. When you go to when alcoholics go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, they stand up, they say, hi, I'm Bruce. Everybody go, hi, Bruce.
Oh, I
And then Bruce goes, I'm Bruce, and I'm an alcoholic. Because in order to heal from what's ailing you, you got to admit that you're being under that you have something ailing you. So in order to heal from an ailment, you have to admit that you're ailed by it. Like, for example, a person dealing with being overweight. In order for you to realize that that's a hindrance to you, you have to admit that that's what's going on. Hi, I'm Mike and I'm an overeater. Hi, I'm John and I'm obese. I know some may say, well, it's the obvious. Yeah, it's the obvious. But it's different when you hear yourself say it.
Yeah.
So, when a person is a talebearer, they tell people business. Give me an example of evil. Give me something that's evil.
Murder?
Yeah. Very good. Excuse me. Murder is evil. Let me ask this question. What if there's a young girl who was fast? When I mean by fast, I think a lot of the older generation know what it means. Like, that little girl fast, you better leave her alone. She was out here being fast. And she ended up getting pregnant. Right? She's 13, 14 maybe. We've had a 7th grader in my school have a baby. So let's say she's 12, 13, had a baby. Not that she was attacked or anything, but she willingly laid with these guys, had a baby. Parents find out about it. They say you too young. The doctors are telling her, like, if you have this baby, because you're not all the way developed. You're still developing.
Right.
So if you have this baby, it can mess you up because you're too young. So the young girl, after hearing all that, she says, well, I'm going to go ahead, and the doctors are telling me I have to, and my parents are telling me I have to, so I'm going to have an abortion. She has the abortion. Would that young girl be considered a murderer?
Yeah. But also, I have a question. Could the blood also be on her parents' hands then? Since they kind of convinced her to go with that.
I mean, it could. I definitely would say, yeah. Well, actually, not it could, it would. Because there are many factors. The parents could have said, no, you're going to have the baby and we'll help you. Or they could have said, no, you're going to have the baby, but you're going to learn. You know what I'm saying? They could have did that. But they convinced her and aided her and maybe even funded the abortion. So it doesn't make that, but my question is the little girl. Does that make her a murderer? Yes, ma'am.
Now, does the species have a heartbeat?
I mean, I ain't get all into the intricacies of that.
Because, in my opinion, as long as the feces doesn't have a heartbeat, I don't think it's considered murder. Because it doesn't have a pulse. There's no, blood might be flowing through it, but there's no pulse to say, because doctors come along. If there's no pulse, you're considered dead. You're not even alive. So.
Well, let me ask this question. And that's a good point. Let me ask this question. What happens to, and I'm asking a big boy question. So people that may be listening, if you're a little squeamish, you can turn me off or turn it down, but I'm asking a question. When I'm using a husband and wife, I use a man. When a man ejaculates, happens to the seed?
Explain.
No, I'm talking about what if he? I should have been more clear in that question. When a man ejaculates and it's not ejaculating into the woman, what happens to the seed? Let's say it hits the sheets, or you had a dream.
Dies.
It dies. How can something die that's not alive? Because a man's seed doesn't have a heartbeat yet. But yet the baby is formed from that seed. When a man ejaculates, there are of course millions of seeds that try to make it to the egg, and it's only a few that may penetrate. When you study certain things, when you look at the seed, they look like little tadpoles. There's no magnet pulling them, but they have a direction of where they're going. But they don't have a heartbeat. Once that seed has made it through whatever it's going to make it through, and it gets to the egg and it fertilizes the egg. Something dead can't fertilize. Well, I take that back. Certain things can.
So I got a question.
But let me finish. I know you're young. I know y'all young. Let's turn this off and just listen for me. When the egg is fertilized, you don't start out as a fetus. You start out as a zygote. And little bitty looking things. You look like a little alien, right? You got a little tail or something, you got, cause you're forming from what that seed was, right? And before you even get to that point, because in the actual semen itself are the nutrients needed in order to form a human being. So you have sugar, and in your semen is also blood, but you don't see the blood, but it's there. The makeup is blood in there. So all the things you need in order to start the life to grow. Just because it doesn't have a heart doesn't mean that it's not alive. And 9 times out of 10, they have pills now that destroy it before it even gets to that stage. The morning after pills, they was forming that stuff. And girls was taking that, and it destroys the. It won't even, if anything tries to penetrate to the egg. And I'm not a OBGYN. I'm just going off of things that I've read and things that I've come across. That it kills it off, so it's not even given a chance to fertilize or to grow. But when a woman has an abortion, there is a certain amount of time, or weeks, I believe, that a woman is given that she's eligible to have the abortion. And if it surpasses a certain amount of time, I think they don't allow the abortion to go through, or something like that.
If you have until 6 weeks to get an abortion, because at 6 weeks there most likely a heartbeat. At 4 weeks there can be a heartbeat, because with my daughter, I was 4 weeks one day and there was a heartbeat.
And see, that's the thing. Life begins once that seed, to me, because I haven't seen anything different. Life begins once you're fertilized and you find out that you're pregnant. The baby might not have a lot of things developed yet, but that's a life. And over time, that life grows. Now, where did we hear that it's not considered alive until you get a heartbeat? Did you hear that from Yahweh? I'm asking anyone that's listening, did we hear that from Yahweh?
School teaches us that.
Very good. School also teaches us that all we were slaves. So who should we listen to? The same school that teaches us that teaches us sex education to preschoolers or to little first or second graders. All I'm saying is that life begins once the process starts. So if this young lady committed abortion, after having doctors tell her it's gonna hurt her, parents tell her it's gonna hurt her, or that parents are saying, because the scriptures say you're supposed to honor your mother, your father and mother, right? So if they tell you you need to have this abortion, she has the abortion. When it comes to that verse of ye that love YAH hate evil, and my young man over there said murder is evil, just something to think about. Something to think about. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That's evil.
Don't bear false
Very
witness.
evil.
Don't be a false witness. What does it mean to be a false witness? What does that mean? Come on now, y'all quoting these scriptures and don't know what it means to be a false witness? Oh man, I mean, I got work to do. That's cool. I got work to do. Cause how don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Okay, what does that mean? How do you bear false witness?
Anybody?
You want to say it?
Huh?
You want me to say it?
I
I
don't care.
Give them a chance. But basically,
Shalom,
saying that
shalom.
you witnessed or seen or heard something that did not happen, a false witness. It's crazy because my friend just got arrested for somebody being a false witness.
Very good. Very good. So okay. So good. So let me ask this question. Let's say that a friend of mine, I'll use me as an example. Let's say that a friend of mine was arrested on drug charges, right? Shalom. He's arrested on drug charges, right? Now let's say, hey, Shalom, how you doing? Hey. So let's say that a friend of mine is arrested on drug charges, right? Now, the prosecutor knows that I'm his friend. Me and him, we used to run the streets together, right? So he know that we cool. So he pulled me to the side. He was like, look, you was with him when he got busted. So I tell you what we gonna do. Because we only found a little bit of weed on him. That ain't enough to get him. What I need you to do is to say that both of y'all was moving like 5 or 6 bricks of cocaine. You gonna get off, but he gonna get the time. Now, if I go in the courtroom and I tell the judge, and I'm standing there, and the prosecutor's before me, and the defense attorney comes up and interviews me and everything, and I tell him, I say, yeah, he had like 5 bricks of cocaine on him, but he really didn't. That's just one example of me being a false witness against my brother. Very good. So when right now, for those that just now may be tuning in, we did our Psalms reading. We read Psalms 96, 97, and 100. And the verse that I'm talking on right now is Psalms 97 and verse 10, where it says, ye that love Yahweh hate evil. And we're talking about evil. So let me ask this question. How are we supposed to keep the Sabbath day? For those that know, how are we supposed to keep it?
It's supposed to be a holy convocation.
It's supposed to be a holy convocation.
Not supposed to find our own pleasures, speak our own words.
Very good. Very good. How many of us love Yahweh? Love the Most High? Very good. how many of us have spoken our own words on his holy day? Chose to stay home on the Sabbath day or go other places other than worship what Yahweh wants us to do. So then where does our love lie? You know what? Some of us wouldn't go against some of us wouldn't go against our mates, but we'll go against the Almighty in a minute. Watch, when you brothers get married, watch. You know, your boy's gonna be like, come on, Tim, let's go out, man. You're gonna be like, nah, man, my wife, you know I had a gift, man. I ain't trying to hear her fussing at me, man. She got at me last night because I had to work late, man. I ain't feeling that, you know, that's my baby. I gotta. But then be too tired, and we say, y'all understand. I ain't going to Bible class today. I'm tired. I pulled a triple shift. I'm tired. But that's how we do the Almighty, but we'll say we love him. You know what that type of relationship is? You know how a man who beats his wife, after he beats her, he go up to her and buy her flowers, tell her he love her. That's how we try to do the Almighty, man. Like, baby, you know, you gotta understand. Just be stressed. Just be tired, baby. You know, there's a lot going on. So I want that to sort of be the meditation of the day, is that verse is, ye that love Yahweh hate evil. Is anger evil?
If it's missing, it was away.
You say no. Why is anger not evil?
Well, it depends on what it is.
Yes, sir.
I feel like it's a natural emotion, but it can be if you just like always angry. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, my man. Very good. All right. Any questions and comments? Yes, ma'am.
If you're done with that, before we go to testimonies, we
Yes,
got
ma'am.
some comments, and we got some real good ones.
Sure. Go right ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, first, let me go to the first. I don't want to slight anybody that text something here. Sister Andrea says, all praises, honor, and glory to our mighty YAH, Shabbat Shalom, beautiful family. Jason Trotter said, I've had some amazing dreams and visions of YAH. I'm serious. I'm going to share them on YouTube as YAH leads me to. True Israel is in for a surprise, and the Gentiles are also in for their surprise. And the
Praise YAH.
next comment is Shamanique. She was saying someone who does wrong against others to make them feel better. And she also says when you wish harm upon someone. And then the last one is pertaining to what we talked about the egg eating up with the stomach.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Kira Kaya Love Hair. And she says, praise YAH for this topic. My husband and I was pregnant, and it was ectopic. If I didn't terminate the pregnancy, it would have killed me and the baby. Was I wrong for terminating?
Here's the thing. With the top pregnancy, that's where I believe the baby is in the tubes.
Mm-hmm.
And that can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm not in the business of, the Almighty judges that situation. That's his job. All I'm gonna say is the Almighty knows you and your husband's heart. And I'm sure that Yahweh knows that given certain circumstances that it would have came out differently, and if you were given a different choice, that you may have chosen a different path. But see, the Almighty, He does measure situations according to the intent. Don't let nobody tell you He don't measure intent. He does measure intent. And He measures the intent of your heart. Where's your heart at when this happens? You understand? So, in that case, that question I was sent to I would ask the Almighty for. Ask the Almighty for forgiveness. If asking for forgiveness and clarity, and to just talk with Him. And I think that's what we all need to do, is just talk to the Most High. We talk to each other a lot, but how many of us really sit and talk to Yahweh and just talk with Him and meditate with Him? Here's my suggestion. At least once a week, you should go out and just be with Yahweh. Tell your significant other, like, baby, I'm going out to dinner and ain't with nobody else. I just need to be with Yahweh right now. And just be and build a personal relationship with the Most High. Some years ago, I did something, and I shared it with the congregation here, that what I did was I wrote a letter to the Almighty. What did I put in that letter? I put in the letter how I felt about Him. I put in that letter all the things. I put in that letter the things that I wanted to talk to Him about. And I put it in an envelope, and it's in one of my Bibles. I don't know which one. I think it's one of my Tanakhs or something. But I put it in a Bible, and one day I was just sifting through some stuff, and the letter fell out. I opened it and I read it. And then I folded it back up and put it back where it fell out. Some people might look at that as being cheesy. Some people might look at me as being cheesy, because I'm not that Minister Farrakhan type teacher anymore. Y'all blessed me to teach spirituality. That's what I teach. Everybody else can teach war and battle and how they want to fight Christians and beat up on Muslims, and they can do that. But what good is it to go to battle if your armor is weakened? Your spirit is your armor. How do I look going out to battle? Why didn't David want to take the armor and the weapons that Saul was trying to give him when he said he would face Goliath? Who remembers what David said?
One tried.
There you go. One tried. Why I want to put on a bulletproof? Would you wear a bulletproof vest? If somebody gave you a bulletproof vest and it had bullet holes in it, would you want to wear that? Like, hey, put this on. Like, man, the bullet went through. Like, hey, look, it didn't hurt him. All right, it slowed the bullet down. It just hit a few organs. Like, you're in a wheelchair, can't breathe, but you're alive. Like, no, man, I'm good. Strengthen the spirit, you strengthen your armor. Because the spirit is what's going to help us control a lot of the temptations is out there. A lot of times we fall victim to temptation because our spirit ain't strong enough. The spirit will tell you, if you don't have a premarital relationship with this man or woman, you're going to miss out on something. When the truth is, you really ain't. Because anyone that's willing to wait is a keeper. When you try to force yourself on a woman and she be like, I don't want to do it, don't get mad at her. Respect it. And if you want to be with a prostitute, go find one. There's a bunch of women out here that'll give it to you with no question. You can walk up to them and be like, hey, I want it. They're like, bet. Me too. And then you get what you want, and then she can be saved for someone who appreciates the fact that she values her virtue. And then the same with a man. I wish you women was some of you young, especially you young girls out here, get with a guy like, I want to wait. I don't want to have no, oh, you must be gay. You must like guys, or you must got a bunch of them. No, it's just I value myself. If we took more appreciation for our seeds as men, maybe we will raise a different type of garden than what's out here today. Any comments? Right. Well, let's turn to the book of Psalms 121. Sister Angela, we missed you last week. Good to see you. So who's our guest? Is that your daughter?
Granddaughter.
Your granddaughter? Huh? You ain't even say nothing, man.
What?
I ain't, man. You ain't say. You know I gotta pick with you, man. I don't know why you don't know our relationship. You just, it's brand new. Like, what you doing, Mr. Israel? You know I gotta mess with my man. All right, Psalms 121. Let us all take a verse in Psalms 121. Elder Ness, should we start at the first verse?
Yes. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help.
My help coming from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keep thee will not slumber.
Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun does not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh guards you from all evil. He guards your being. Yahweh guards your going out and your coming in, now and forever.
Praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. So this portion here is opening up to testimonies. Are there any testimonies? Yes, sir.
I want to praise Yahweh for this day. I want to say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And I want to thank him for allowing me to wake up.
Praise Yahweh. Nobody else been blessed? I try not to go first because I'm a speaker, so yes, ma'am.
I would like to give praise to Yah for one, the hospital finally got back to me and I go for a drug test and I do my background test or background check and everything. So that will be starting up within like 2 weeks. He also got me to be able to figure out what I need to do for my disability at school. And got me answers to like the financial aid part because it was considering me an out-of-state student when I'm an in-state student. So school and work, it's all coming together.
Praise Yah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to give our praises to Almighty Yahweh, saying hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'd like to thank the Almighty for blessing me, woke me up, be able to be here, watched over my family. Yesterday, I celebrated my first granddaughter's birthday. She's no longer here with us, but we still keep her in our prayers. Her name was Tiana. I loved her dearly. She was more like a daughter. And also, I'd like to thank the Almighty. I'm at a preschool, gave me an opportunity to work with some children that's African. They are so different than our children is over in the United States. Our children, most of our children, and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, it's been watered down. When I say watered down, there's a 4-year-old little African boy that's in that class. I had him helping me teach the other children. They was listening to him pretty much more so than me. I mean, he was aggressive. And the other children were listening. I'm looking at this little 4-year-old boy, and I'm thinking, wow, I don't see teenagers and young adults taking the initiative to be leaders, and the Almighty made us to be kings and queens. I don't see a lot of that going on with our youth or our teenagers. And so I did have the opportunity to see that at this school, at this preschool that I was at. And we're saying that we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do with our youth, our children, and ourselves. So I just thank the Almighty for having an opportunity to see a true, one of His true children. So thank you, Yah. Hallelujah.
Praise the mighty Yahweh. Any other testimonies?
What they got, Sister Cindy.
Go ahead and read, Sister.
Okay, Sister Cindy says, praise the Almighty, for He is worthy to be praised. When we keep the Almighty as the gatekeeper of our mind and thoughts, the wrong elements have little chance to get in.
Praise Yahweh. That is the truth. That is the truth. Any other testimonies? Well, all right. Let me get mine. Well, I thank the Almighty because I had a beautiful Father's Day, Abba Day. My daughter took me for smoothies. She bought me some amazing gifts. Had a lot of sugar. But I ended up being sick. You know, I had a cold or something. And it threw me down for a while. Yahweh slowed me down for a minute so I can organize my excuse me, my time. Worked 2 jobs. Then I trained in the mornings 3 days a week. I was tired. At least 3 days out the week, my day starts at 4 a.m. and don't end until like a little bit after 6. So I'm tired. But I appreciate it. So I took off 2 days, got me some rest. Praise Yahweh, I'm popping. I'm popping and ready to go. I thank Yahweh for it because I'm a teacher. So this, while school's out, I work for CPS. I work a summer program. So I work at this place called Stepping Stones, and these are special needs campers. They go up to age 21. 21. After 21, they move on to the adult camp. So I realized something with these campers, that what I'm going to do is I'm going to share something with y'all. Have y'all ever, I use sickness. Have y'all ever ate something that was so horrible that you couldn't throw up? All you did was just be sick. What is it with y'all today? Ain't nobody talking? I'm asking a question. Oh my gosh. What kind of spirit y'all come here with on the Sabbath day? Who ain't tired? I'm whooped. You know the day I get to rest? Yes, I'm having a moment. It's tomorrow. I get to really chill out. But even then I don't. What is wrong with y'all? Open your mouths. If y'all was at a party or acting a fool, all you will hear is when I ask who's blessed, raise your hand. Man, I'm blessed.
I missed the question. What did you ask? I missed it.
The question was, I forgot, I was fussing. Oh, the question was, have you ever, because I'm going to explain why it's a question. Have you ever ate something or was really sick and you couldn't throw up but you wanted to? And you just be walking around miserable. I mean, you sweating and you want to, you trying to make yourself and it just don't work. Well, imagine being able, having these thoughts and these words and these ideas just build up in your mind and you can't communicate it. That's what I work with. I work with campers or young adults who all they do is grunt. They can grunt. They have something. The one I work with, he can speak sometimes. But when you have all these thoughts in your mind, when you can't necessarily have control over your actions, like you know how we might have control over our impulses, right? Like right now, you might want to go, ah! But your mind is like that. That don't fit the. Well, if you suffer from mental illness, that impulse you can't control it. And then they walk around and they snapping fingers all day and they flipping their fingers because that's what their mind is telling them. Just move, just do something. Imagine not being able to communicate when you're hurting. You just hope someone notices. Then there should be no reason why when someone asks for a testimony, you shouldn't give one. And I'm able to see. I'm able to talk. I'm able to communicate. I'm able to feel true love. I'm able to know the difference between good touch and bad touch. I'm able to know that when I have a bad thought that I need to get it out of me. I feel good doing that. That's a blessing in itself. Come on, y'all. If we don't thank Yahweh, who else is? Then we walk around low. I agree with you 100%, Elder. When you see Africans, last week I spoke on the setting standards. How many of y'all wrote your 5 core values down and put them in your house? Really? Thank you. Really? Y'all couldn't write the 5 values down on a piece of paper? I mean, I added a little color to mine. And I put it on the door to my little room where my little closet is. And when I hit that door, I didn't put it there on purpose, but I moved something from the middle of the door and I just left it there. So now when it hits me in my face, my core values, the things that make up that I'm using to make up my character. There was a purpose for you doing that. How many of y'all in here, and be totally honest with me, believe that you're great? How many of y'all believe that you're great?
Wait.
How many of y'all believe that you're great? And my elder showed confidence. And I believe her 1,000%. I don't need you to ask me a question that's super simple. How many of you believe that you're great? That's why that little 4-year-old showed confidence. You don't even believe you're great. Let me say this. If you couldn't play basketball and be good at it, would you still feel that you were great? Don't say yes, because when I asked you, you didn't raise your hand. If neither one of you young men came in here with the $100 sneakers on, you guys dress like hip hop models. I mean, y'all come in here sharp, and I ain't talking about y'all don't. And even when y'all come in and you don't have on your Jordans, you still stylish. If y'all didn't have that, would you still feel great? Feel that you're great about Do you still feel great? I take silence as being no. Because we allow things that already have a value to put value on us. You know, Michael Jordan already has a value, a high value. But we use his high value to make us high value. That's where we fail. You should feel great if you come in here with some Walmart, what's them shoes? Some Shacks. You should feel valued if your shoes only cost you $5. The stuff that we wear and that we spend so much money on don't add value to us. It just helps us to become even more insecure with ourselves. I had to learn that. I'm going to share something with y'all. There was a time where, I still like to look nice. But there was a time where there were certain places I didn't want to go if I didn't have on this or that. I'm ashamed to say. That's why it's important for you to know your core values. But like you said with that young man, you notice with Africans. You notice Africans walk with their head up. You know, most Africans don't like us at all. But we support their businesses though, don't we? We'll go to them but you notice we support a lot of people that don't like us. Don't we? That lets you know we, the children of Israel. We go buy African garments, don't ask about the print. What does that print mean? When Black Panther came out, the movie, the Marvel movie came out, we was going out buying dashikis, just buying them. Like, do you know what the print mean though? That different colors were from different tribes. See, when I buy clothes, I do a little research on what I buy, because just in case, if I'm asked by an African, where did you get that from? I can tell them why, where, and if they ask me, what does that mean? I can explain it to them. As opposed to, I like the colors. It's pretty, it fit me nice. They look at me like, that's why we don't like y'all. Right there, that's why we don't like y'all. But the world has designed itself to show you that you ain't nothing. Look at how the black woman is viewed. The black woman is viewed as what? Attitude, oversexed. The black man is viewed as overly aggressive, stupid. And we feed into it. And that's why when someone asks you, do you believe you're great, you can't answer that question. Because you're unable to see past the things that you valued yourself by. Any comments?
Susanna just says, I want to thank the Most High for life, for me and my family. Also for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of His laws, statutes, and commandments.
Praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The Almighty made us in His image, in His likeness. Now, who is greater than the Almighty? No one. And if He made us in His likeness and image, and we don't consider that we great, I feel sorry for any and everybody that do not feel like they're great.
That's right.
It's sad.
But then too, it helps me to realize too about in our community why we don't have the same mentality as the Africans. It's because it's perpetuated in the sense of how we look at us. That's why we wear our pants sagging, because we emulate the things that imprison us. We emulate prison life, thug life, street life, living on the living in the hood. Like, that's what we aspire to do. We aspire to buy a pair of Jordans. We aspire to go and and buy a Maybach. We buy Maybachs. We got Maybach dreams. We want to go buy a Lexus or Mercedes. Those are things that's part of a culture that's imprisoned us. Those are nice things. I'm not saying if you own those things that you are a bad person, but what I'm saying is those are things that imprison us. And what I mean by imprison us is it imprisons us because we can't see ourselves without it in a lot of cases. Think about it. You take the average 14-year-old, 15-year-old. You put me next to a dude on the street who gets respect, right? Let's say his name is Lil T. And Lil T is out here, he tatted up, gold. He's sitting there with money stacked like this, just walking around with it. You acting like it's a phone, like you know the foolishness. And here I am, working 2 jobs. A minister, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, a husband, a father. Excuse me. Who do you think he's gonna gravitate to? Especially if he doesn't have the guidance at home. He's gonna gravitate to Lil T. Because Lil T represents power. But let's say I was single. Let's say I'm single. Right? You see me walking up the street dressed how I'm dressed. Let's say I don't have on my kufi or my binder or whatever. And let's say I'm just walking up the street. And then you see Lil Raheem. Muscles, tattoos, bulge in his pocket, got a little money. You know, I just walk around with cars. I don't walk around with cash. Maybe I'm different. But you see me walking up the street, and you see Raheem walking up the street. Who's the first thing these ladies are going to want to run and talk to? And Raheem could look like a brass, gorilla face transformer monkey. But because of his image that he fits, they're going to go for him.
Yeah.
I'm a lame. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. I like jazz. I like poetry. You understand? Even some older women, if I was single, wouldn't want to be with me. Man, you a lame. You don't smoke weed? I don't smoke weed. I watch my diet. I like baby giggles. He couldn't protect me. Not knowing. You don't know what I can do. But what I portray is that's what I like. You will catch me at a poetry reading before you will a Jeezy concert. That's me though. But because I don't fit that lifestyle. Yes, Sister Angela.
What was that you said? What's that? Maybe a Mayberry? What?
Maybach.
What is that?
That's a car.
Oh,
Very expensive car. They start out at $300,000. Very expensive car. They're so expensive that you can't just go and buy one. You have to be a member. You got to join you got to be like a member or something. Was my voice too soft? You had to add yours. Wait till I'm finished. You have to be a member in order to even be able to afford them type of cars. And then once you buy your first one, then you're able to buy a newer one. It's like a club. They can they like I said, they start out at $300,000. That's a house with a couple cars. What was you gonna say? Okay. We do have a protocol. If you want to talk, you raise your hand. You know that. So, as Elder Nestor was saying with this young man, he feels confident because he's been brought up and reared in his beliefs. However, the reason that we're in that state is because us as black men are not necessarily raised by other black men. Most of us are raised by mothers. Nothing against mothers, but you can't teach me how to be a man. You can only teach me what you think a man should do. But you can't teach me how to be something you're not. Just like if I was just raising my daughter, I can't teach my daughter how to be a woman. I'm a man. She'd be a feminine, masculine individual if I raised her. That's why both needs to be there. If y'all relationship don't work out, you do your best to co-parent. Don't make it hard for each other. But too many of our children are walking around these streets with their head down, feeling inadequate, being okay being labeled. You got ADHD. You got this learning disability. The society we live in now would much rather give you a title than any assistance. And what y'all fail to realize is those labels, when parents be like, oh, they say my child got ADHD. You know what? We suffer from so many mental illnesses that ADHD probably ain't the only thing. But what they do is they say, well, you know what? Your child is diagnosed with this. So we'll put them on medicine. You can get a check for them. You know, we'll put them in these special classes. And then what our children do is they live out that. So if I keep labeling you, then of course I'm not going to be like the African children. I've yet to see in the classroom I work in an African child in there for a learning disability. Anyone who ever went to school, whoever went to school, and you saw the special needs children, how many of them were African? How many Ubuntus did you see walking behind little Jimmy who eat paste? How many? But how many of us do you see? You'll see a slew of us. Most of us don't even have real mental issues. We just falling behind academically. So instead of getting us the help, they just rather label you. They would label you everything but the child of the Most High. That's why when I say write down 5 core values, that's what we did last week. Write down your 5 core values. Things that make you you. Write them down. Things that you feel you can, that will make you great. Write them down and put them up on the wall somewhere in your house so that you see that every day. Because when you step outside the house, they ain't going to treat you like a statistic with a label. And we give in and we live that label. Maybe that's why maybe that's why we're label heads. Because we're used to being labeled. If it don't say Jordan, we don't want it. If I look at the TV, I'm going to tell you something. If you looked at the TV and think about the rappers that y'all like, if y'all started seeing them wearing Walmart clothes, Walmart wouldn't have nothing on shelves anymore. Everybody in here will be wearing George. Ain't that's the brand you get at Walmart, George. Everybody be in here rocking George. They'll start selling George in the department stores because you see Rick Ross walking around with a George shirt on. His shirt costs $5, but they sell it to you for $500 because he wearing it. That's because we are so used to being labeled. We love labels. We feel like labels make us important. Let me ask y'all a question. If I came in here tattooed, I'm a minister now, tattooed up, gold chains. You see me pull up in a $300,000 car every week. I invite y'all out to my house. My house got 3 pools, 17 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms. I have workers in my house that take care of it. How would y'all feel about me? What would be y'all's view of me? Before I even had a chance to open my mouth, what would be, if y'all knew I had these things, what would be y'all view of me? How would y'all label me?
Materialistic.
You got it.
Rich, right? He said rich,
You got it
materialistic. I got it going on. Very good. Y'all would be like, I want to be like that. But why wouldn't y'all have that same spirit if y'all saw me just walking with Yahweh as a plain man? The answer's easy. See, we're not given to righteousness. We're given to things. Y'all wouldn't care that I would have had, refugees in my basement, making sweaters, not having brakes. I set cats on fire. You understand? I buy fish so I can kill them. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things, you would look past that. You might go, dude, weird, but he lit though. He stay lit. He weird though. Dude be on some weird stuff. But then you would take the individual who walks with Yahweh, and I can understand it from someone who don't know the Most High, but you know the Most High. And you would value me higher by my things than what you actually know about me. In your mind, my character don't even matter because you're so enamored with the things that I have. We're so enamored with the things people have that we totally ignore their character. We totally ignore, how do you walk with the Most High?
Is that a question? Do you want to say?
No, it's a thought. Which leads me into my topic here real quick. But before we do that, we'll go into the 10 Commandments. Something I have been thinking about this week. When a black man thinks, that's very dangerous. So I'm a dangerous man. Because I think a lot. I'm going to tell you, sister, something. There's nothing more attractive than a black man who thinks, who meditates. I ain't talking about, I am talking about he thinks, he meditates. It's good to have someone in your life that thinks before they react and meditates on things. Now, I ain't talking about they in a state of depression. I'm talking about they meditate. They say, I think it's cool to be like, ask questions like, why do flowers grow up? I know the answer.
They actually grow towards the sunlight over there's water.
They grow towards the sun. So even if you have some plants, let's say you put a plant on its side that normally goes straight up, it'll bend sorta, because it's still trying to reach for the sun. So in the book of Exodus 20, we're going to do the commandments. My elder, would you read the first 3 verses, please?
And Yahweh spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy Elohim, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other deity before me.
Now that's the first commandment. I'll read the second commandment, which consists in verses 4 through 6. The second commandment states, Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of what is, Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above or in the earth beneath or on the waters under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them, for I, Yahweh thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, keep my commandments. And would you read the 3rd commandment? That is in verse 7.
I shall not take my name of Yahweh Elohim in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless and take his name in vain.
Very good. Brother Tam, would you restart at read verses 8 to 11? That's the 4th commandment.
Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the Sabbath is the Sabbath of YAH. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that was in thy gates. For in 6 days Yah made heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Very good, my brother. Elijah, read the 5th commandment, verse 12, my man.
I shall honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days can be long upon the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee.
You read the 6th commandment, 13.
Thou shalt not murder.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Good. 8th commandment is thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Yes. And Sister Angela, would you read the 10th and final commandment, as in verse 17?
You do not covet your neighbor's house. You do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor.
Beautiful. Praise Yahweh. I love how that scripture reads. Praise Yahweh. Any questions on the commandments? Do we have an understanding on the commandments? Very good. Can somebody explain to me the 10th commandment? Anybody? Just explain it to me. Because when I ask if you got understanding, yes, sir.
Basically, well, first I want to start out with the definition of covet.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Yes, yes.
And basically, covet means to desire, but also it's a bad word. It seems like a bad word, but
Yes.
really it means desire.
Yes.
So we cannot desire any of our neighbors' things, but their daughter we can, their son we can, because that's not a thing. It's not listed in the scripture.
Very good point that you brought that out. And it was great that you broke down what covet means. I thought that was very profound. Very good. That's great. So, somebody give me something else. What adultery? No. We dealt with bearing false witness. I think everything else is kind of self-explanatory then, right? Or is that just an easy way for y'all to get out of being able to explain it? Because what if, let me ask, these commandments are commandments of Yahweh, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. And we love Yahweh, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What if you had to defend the commandments? How would you do that?
So like,
What do you think? How do you defend something? You protect it. So how would you protect these commandments? How would you protect the righteousness and sanctity in these commandments? You got somebody coming up to you and preaching and talking about how you don't need to do these commandments no more.
well, I mean, what's wrong with?
You don't have to ask me that.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is what I can ask them. What's not wrong? What's wrong with not stealing? Like, if that's the case, they like, if you go by the New Testament, they didn't tell you like it's okay to steal, it's okay to bear false witness, because they've done away with all of this. But to me, these are the only things that's keeping us civilized for real.
I think that answer is perfect. That's a perfect answer. Yes, sir. Yes.
I believe that, well, I will say, well, these laws are done away with because some people say these laws were created by man, but the Constitution was created by man. And where did the man get the laws from? It all started from Yahweh's law, then it branched into.
Excellent point. You on fire. You on fire. Good job. That's right, brother. The Constitution, we'll hold tighter to the Bill of Rights and to the Constitution before we will the righteous Constitution and commandments. Yes, Sister Angela.
Now going back to what it was saying that we have done away with these laws. These laws, now, yeah, we have people in the world that do not honor these laws, but these laws were never done away with.
That's right.
We all know that we should not murder, we should not steal, commit adultery. I mean, I feel like that's common sense. You come out of the womb knowing that. So, yeah, there's people out here that don't care, and they do stuff anyway, but these laws were never done away with.
Okay, well, let me ask this question. Because, Sister Angela, that's a great point. You're absolutely right. They were never done away with. They just got overshadowed by wickedness. And check this out. So, what if you have a child? And I'm just asking in general. If you have a child and you don't teach them none of the commandments, would a child innately know the difference between right and wrong if you didn't teach them what was right and what was wrong?
I would say yeah, because I see this with her daughter all the time. Like, she'll just be doing something, you can give her a look or say something, and she knows she's not supposed to be doing it without you even telling her.
Right, but you know what? That's because something was already established in the beginning. Like a baby don't come out knowing that if I spit in your face is bad. Unless you say no. A child doesn't come out of the womb knowing anything, any difference between right and wrong, unless you have like a Jeremiah, who the Almighty and I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, the Almighty communicates with the baby in the womb. He communicates through the whole process. He communicates. Babies don't, like, for example, how many of us done had our little nieces, little nephews over, or even our own children when they were little? I'm gonna tell you something. What happened to me, and this is Takari, and that's my baby. We had bought. This was she was about, maybe I want to say about 1, and we had maybe about 1 or no, she was about 3, and we had bought these donuts. And the donuts were clean, but we told her no, you can't have it. You know what she did? We told her no. She stood there. She snatched it and grabbed it and ran away. But we had to teach her that that was wrong. If we don't teach that, if we don't teach what's wrong, because we had to know the difference between what's right and what's wrong. Let's keep something like the Sabbath day. How many of us was born keeping the Sabbath day? Most of us didn't know about it until we got a little older and we started finding out things about it. So now we keep it. Things that are instinctive are not the laws, but survival. That's instinctive. You go towards a baby's face and they put their hands up. A baby don't want to be changed, they kick their, oh, I just love babies. They kick their little legs at you. And they, yeah! And you be like, you ain't gonna peel me again. Stop. they're instinctive. But the law is something that has to be taught. A child may learn that fire burns when they touch something hot. Now, before they even knew that was hot, how many of us have been burnt by something? I'll be honest with you. You know the little eyes on the electric stove? Well, I'm going to tell you, one time I was older. I was about maybe 6 or 7. I should have known better. But my grandma at the time, when she was alive, praise Yahweh for her, we went to Georgia to go see my aunt. And she had the stove on, and it was this red, I'm a child, I'm like, ooh, what's this? I put my hand on it, sizzle. I knew the next time I see that, don't touch. Ooh, hot, yeah, that's hot. You understand? So there were things that had to be innately shown to where if I'm an obedient child, I'm going to listen. Yes, Sister Angela.
I just wanted to comment on or say something about how a child knows right from wrong and whether or not coming out the womb or as they get older. Now, of course, I would say coming out the womb, you're innocent. But as you get older, I feel like you know right from wrong, whether you're taught or not. An example, someone I know, a child was probably about 2 or 3. Took him to the babysitter. Babysitter had a lot of these $50, I guess, laying around, like in bags or whatever, and the child took them. Get home, the mother has no idea what's going on, but she got a call from the babysitter saying, oh, I'm missing, these $50, can you check, your child? Now, the child took them, but they knew that it was wrong for them to take because if not, they wouldn't have hid it. They was trying to hide the fact that, I know this was wrong. Even at 2 or 3, they knew it was wrong. They was trying to hide it, but then, the babysitter called and they, went in the room with their found them and, child, got a spanking for it, of course, but they knew, even at that age, that what they did was not right.
But that's because they were taught.
I'm not saying that the mother didn't, but
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
the child had a conscience, the child
had a conscience when they got caught. See, that's what happened.
No, they knew it was wrong when they did it because they hid it. You see what I'm saying?
What I'm saying to you is that I hear what you're saying, but I still don't negate from my factor that things have got to be taught. A child is not just born knowing it that's wrong, unless they've either witnessed it or either somehow they have been shown that it was wrong. Because even as adults, like for example, even as adults, there are things that we do that until we find out is wrong, we keep doing it. When it comes to, now you can have, children, like there are a lot of children that have just a good spirit. There are children that have just a good spirit, so when they do wrong, 9 times out of 10, if that the child knows that it's wrong, the child knew it was wrong when they did it, and they hid it because they've done that before, and they were checked on it. And they hid it not because they had a good conscience, or they hid it because they didn't want to get in trouble. That's just the nature of children who do that. Because if a child really had a good conscience, they wouldn't have took it in the first place. They would have left it. But my elder gave an example. Elder Yemuel, he gave an example one time. He said about how children do know what they're doing. I will say that. And he said that if they bake cookies and they put them on the table, and mom say you get a cookie at dinner time. As soon as mom walks away, that child is looking at the cookie dish, looking down the hallway, looking at the cookie dish, looking down the hallway, because that child knows consciously that he's not supposed to have it, but the only way that he knew he wasn't supposed to have it was that the law for not having that cookie, I'm not saying it's a law in scripture, but the command for not having it was given to him. So what I'm trying to show is that when it comes to these commandments here, they have got to be taught. They've got to be taught as a child, and they have to be taught as adults. It's very important that we teach these, because these commandments are the gateway to, as Tamarin said, being civilized. Praise y'all. Yes, ma'am, Sister Angela.
Yeah, another example of how, I feel like some things just come natural, some things you just know is not right. Like, let's just take a child that's raised in a household where the parent is not living right, is not doing right.
Right.
So obviously that parent is not teaching them what they need to be taught, because they're not living their life right. But that child knows that, okay, what my mom or dad or both is doing is not right. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to do that. So they're not being taught any better, but they know that what they're seeing is not right.
Okay, praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. Okay. Good. Any other comments or questions? Yes, ma'am. Praise Yahweh.
It's true. Sister Cindy says, I'm going to pronounce this correctly, I'm going to read it and then I'll spell it out. She said, can you tell me a little bit about Jabez? In scripture is Jebez.
Let me write that down. Jebuz. Easy. Jabez. Yeah, well, I could do that.
Scriptures.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem. I'll do that next go around. Y'all willing? We'll do that this afternoon.
Okay. And then
Good.
Sister Andrea says, Minister Israel, do you think our diet over here passed down has contributed to the rise in our children being set back, and with one parent raising kids, they are at work and the kids is at the mercy of school?
Well, I won't say that that's the. There are so many factors to our setback, but our conditioning here is definitely a contributing factor to why our children are in the state that they're in. Because in a lot of cases, it's easier. And I'm not talking about the parents who were lazy, shiftless, and forget it. Okay, yes, ma'am. You sure, Sister Andrew? Because I was about to go on a spiel, okay. But I hope you didn't. I hope that you did. If you got the answer, good. If you already had it, but you brought out a good point, and it's something that should be directed to a lot of us, especially in our households, when it comes to teaching our children. That is very important. The first thing that I feel that should be introduced in the upbringing of our children is of who they are. That's why African children can walk with their heads up, because they can talk to you and be like, I know who my ancestors are, I know who my great-great-grandma is, I know this, I know what tribe I come from. How many of us know anything other than we got to go to ancestral.com, man? You go there, after you pay your money, they only going to tell you about 5% African, and you this much Irish. You Irish? I don't even like cabbage. You Scottish, you this, and you're you're Portuguese. I mean, what is this? And they only go so far back, because they can only go so far back. No, tell me who I was in the beginning. That's what I want to know. Where am I from? Like, take me back to my forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like, what tribe am I from? Am I even an Israelite? What am I? Those are the things that I need to know. Because if I'm saying I'm part of the people of the scriptures, I want to know what people I'm part of. I might be a Philistine. I mean, who knows? You understand? Who am I? You understand? But when it comes to our children, teach them who they are. Teach them to love who they are. Stop trying to take your child to get their, well, I ain't gonna say that. You do what you do. But, your child got a little afro. Teach them to love their hair. Teach them to love their locks. Because when you teach a child to love themselves and you instill that in them, then as they get older, the world may say, you look like, you ugly, you disgust me, you look at what you're wearing. But because they were built in with self-love, it don't mean that they're not going to feel it, but they'll be able to fall back on, it hurt, but I love me. I love me. I don't need to spend $500 on a pair of gym shoes. I'd rather spend $500 on my school fees so I can graduate. I'm going to school wearing $500 gym shoes and I might not graduate. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that if that's what you want to do, but what I'm saying is let's teach our children to put more value into who they are than what they wear. Maybe that'll cut down a lot of the violence too. Man, you stepped on my J's. Why would you shoot him? Man, he stepped on my Jordans. Your Jordans? Okay. All you did was just pay for them. Maybe that will cut down a lot of bullying. Oh, look what he got on, man. Them J's came out last year. So what? Oh, outfit came out, I don't know when. But because we put so much value on things and not ourselves. Because I'm going to tell you, once you learn to put value on yourself, then things won't necessarily have that much. There's an African proverb that says, the want of a thing sometimes outweighs its actual value. You ever wanted something so bad, you worked for it? I've done that. I've done that. I've went to shoe stores and like, I'm gonna get them. Watch me. I've done it. I wanted me some black Timberlands. So I'm going to Foot Locker, trying them up. I got me some wheat ones, all right, but I want the black ones. I got the black ones. They just chilling somewhere. Not that I don't appreciate them, but I don't wear them. I don't even wear my wheat ones like that. Because the want of the thing I allowed the want of it to actually, outweigh its value. We do that with people, don't we? Young man, you see a girl, I'm gonna get her. Yeah, she gonna be mine. Then as soon as you get her, you don't want her no more. Once you get what you want. So, the important thing is to first institute and understand who you are and where you come from. Because if you love you, then there's nothing that the outside world can do to change that. If you put as much energy into people liking you, into building yourself, you'll notice a difference. You might even notice that a lot of things don't bother you anymore. People can make comments and say, I don't like them shoes on you. You'll go, oh, okay, that's cool. I mean, I like them. I didn't buy them for you in mind, but thank you for your opinion. Any comments or questions on that? Yes, sir.
I started thinking, especially when we was talking about how Israel.
Mm-hmm. You need to talk up so they can hear.
No, so, like Israel. The reason why this stuff is happening to us, like the curse thing.
Mm-hmm.
It said that his seed, like you remember in Genesis, it said like his seed, Abraham's seed will be in a land that it's not there, they don't know of.
Mm-hmm.
Is that talking about all his seed, like Ishmael, or
What do you think?
yes?
So you answered your question. Any other questions? All right. Now, there's a point. There was I don't know if you're familiar with this author, but in the late 1800s, this author's name is George Eliot. He wrote a book, and in this book, one of his characters, in the storyline in this book, one of his characters had read a book called The Devil's Passion or something. And the comment he had made was, the reading was a phenomenal reading. Right? When you hear of a book called The Devil's Passion, you're not thinking of, oh, it was a holistic book or it was great. But that's how the character was depicted in the book, right? The term that was coined came from his book, was don't judge a book by its cover. So, what's wrong with judging a book by its cover?
That's the point of the story.
Okay. Anyone else? Why can't I judge? What's wrong with judging a book by its cover? Yes, ma'am.
You're assuming instead of just finding out the facts in it.
Very good, very good. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
The book could be look really worn out, torn. I mean, the outside of it could be dirty or whatever, but until you open it up to see what's inside, it could be very, very valuable. But when you look at the outside of it, you're like, ugh.
Right. Very good. Well, I'm going to be really corny right now. You said no surprise? Well, I'm going to be even more cornier now.
Go for it.
Let's take the bookshelf of life. What do you do if the cover of the book designs itself to fit the certain stereotype that you have about it? Am I still wrong because I only judge the book by its cover? So in other words, this message goes out to our sisters. I don't mean to be harsh. But if you want to walk around here wearing things where you're revealing your bosom, and you are wearing things that's tight-fitted and short, and you're wearing things that are provocative, Am I wrong if I only want to come up to you so I can lay with you? Am I wrong for that? I mean, that's how you perceive yourself. What if you saw me on the street and I had golds in my mouth, tatted, and every time you see me, it's like I got a cologne or weed on me? I fit the proverbial thug image. Are you wrong because you treat me how I'm presenting myself?
Yeah.
How you wrong?
I would say yeah, because just because they're presenting themselves that doesn't give you the right to take it upon yourself and play that into that stereotype.
Yeah, but it's not wrong. Why would it be wrong? You're presenting to me. For example, if a lion is coming towards you, are you going to take the time and say, maybe he's a cutie. Maybe he likes to play with humans. Come here, Leo. Come here, buddy. Or are you going to hightail? Exactly. But that's still judging a book by its cover. The cover of that book says, from other instances, or from what people say, lions are vicious. That's judging a book by its cover. So the next time you see a lion, don't run. Just stand there and see what it do. And that way you can say, well, with one arm, I didn't judge it. I didn't judge it. It almost killed me. I didn't judge it. Exactly. The purpose of me talking is to just make you think a little, make people think. That's all. Go ahead, sister. You had your hand up.
I just want to say it's the same thing at school. Like, us females, we get pretty for ourselves in a sense, but the fact that men have desires, they take away from it. Like, why can't I just wear what I want to wear because I like it, or because it fits my personality the way I want it to fit? But then because it's tight or it's a little too short, I could be at school just because I got shorts on and a t-shirt on. I got guys looking at me instead of paying attention in school. It's the fact that they have desires instead of intentions.
Very good point. But I don't believe that women get dressed for themselves. Because if that was the case, you would just get dressed and stay in the mirror all day. Women get dressed for certain attention because they know it's going to come. That's why. When women say, I get dressed for me, that's not true. And 100% of the case is not necessarily true 100% of the case of the time. Sometimes when we wear things, sometimes the things that we wear is not necessarily because I'm doing it just for me. And I'm not saying that's not the case. But sometimes when we wear things that's not appropriate, we know it's not appropriate. If I'm think about something. If I am a man and I wear something and let's say that I don't, because we have children, I'm gonna be very discreet. But let's say that I'm not lacking in a certain area as a man. And I wear shorts or pants that silhouettes that. I'm doing that. I may feel confident, I feel confident, but I'm also doing it because I know I'm going to get attention. At some way, shape, or form, I'm going to get that attention. If a woman is very shapely and she wears shorts that are very inappropriate, hot pants, and you got your cheeks coming, you're not wearing that just because let me say this. I'm not going to say that that's the only reason because I get dressed for me. No. You're doing that because you know you look good in it, and you know it's going to get you a little attention. Because if a woman or a man, when we dress ourselves, I'm going to tell you, a portion of it may be, I'm doing this for me because I feel good. But the other portion may be, I'm doing this because I want the world to see that I look good. You understand? So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but what I am saying is that I just want us to realize that this question here is just a thinking question. So people storming out and getting upset over something and people getting upset is just a question. It's just a question, and that was uncalled for. Yes, ma'am.
Now I do agree with what you're saying, and I feel that men they know the women that are doing it to get attention versus the women that are doing it because they just want to look nice. Now with me, most of the time, I rarely wear dresses or skirts. This is like an every blue moon thing for me.
Right.
I'm usually in pants, jogging pants. My hair is always pulled back in a ponytail. I don't really go all out. Like with the makeup, the eyelashes, and all. You won't see that with me. I guess today was just a day that I just wanted to look a little extra nice and wear my sundress and stuff.
Ma'am.
But normally, even Elijah now, I'm just pretty much looking, I guess, kind of what some people may say a little rough, homely looking, I guess. But the women that you're referring to, like I was driving past, I think that's Partridge one day, and they had some type of, some type of car show or something along like Vine Street. And the women, the way they would dress, like the hot pants, the shorts, that don't cover everything, and those tops, everything spilling out. And, of course they were doing it because they wanted attention, but they looked trashy. They looked like prostitutes.
Right.
That's what they looked like. But men know the ones doing it just for the attention, and the ones that just want to look nice, just doing it for themselves.
And you know what? You just made a very good observation. You're absolutely right. And and let me say this too. I don't want women to think that if you do wear that stuff that's revealing, that I'm saying you're wrong. All I'm saying is that, all I'm saying is that, if you do wear those things that's revealing, I'm not saying that it gives a man the right to be disrespectful. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that it's expected. That's the same as if I go through, I don't even have to be, I'm going to say if I walk through a neighborhood, and let's say I walk through a neighborhood and it's full of Crips, and I'm dressed in all red, and I say, because I like red, I'm going to wear my red. Then if a bunch of Crips chase me out the neighborhood, they're not going to take the time and say, man, he ain't no blood. They're going to instantly think, get him. So if you see me running up and down the street, if I'm presenting myself, and let's say that I know that I'm going in a neighborhood that's full of Crips, and I'm not justifying jumping people and hurting people. What I'm saying is, if I walk knowingly, like, I know I'm going to walk through Crip territory, so I'm going to wear all red, then if a Crip see me, then all they have is what I put before them. They're not going to go, oh, you can't mess with him, man. He ain't even down like that. They're going to go get him. That's all they see. You understand? Yes, ma'am.
Interesting subject. Now, I myself, I have my own business, and I sell these pepper sprays. And so what I do, I put on my culture outfits, I look nice, and I try to look nice all the time, but I always put that type of clothing on because it does attract people to want to come over and first of all, where you get that from? And so I don't know about other women, what they wear their clothes for, but when I do that, when I'm out selling, I want to attract remember on California, we had two sisters. They would come in, they'd be dressed sharp, tight clothes, and Ray was telling us, he was saying that some of the sisters was hating on them because of the way they was dressed, and he was saying that was wrong, but that's just the way they like to dress. Now, I don't know whether they was dressing like that to get the attention of all the men in there, the single men and the husbands. Some of the wives didn't like it, but they were being judged by the way they dressed.
And the point that I'm bringing out is that, you know, you a sister, as long as the garment is 100% whatever the material is, then you fine. I'm not going to tell you to do what you do, but, you know, what I am saying is that when it comes to, if you don't want to be judged in a certain way, then you have to change your image.
So true.
That's all I'm saying. Because you think about it. Even a criminal will throw on a suit when he go into court. They even got it to a science that if you got a good lawyer, they'll tell you what you should wear. Okay, this is what you should wear when you come before this judge. You know, get you some little glasses so you can look intellectual. You know, get you wear pleated pants or dress or wear this. So you you got women who normally wear club attire every day of their life. They can't bend over because the skirt's so short. But if they going before a magistrate or before the judge, you'll see them. Some of them have on a suit. Like, where you get that from? Some of them have on a suit dress and button all the way up to the top and hair in a bun and just coming there looking like they just stepped off the church bus. Because they want to give that image that they're innocent, even though they may not be. But what I'm saying is, if people would listen, because we're so quick to get upset, to want to storm out of rooms, to want to tell people, you know how wrong you are, instead of just listening. This topic here is just a topic. It has nothing to you. People do what you do. You come in here next week with a clown suit on. That's your choice. As long as that clown suit is 100% and you wearing your fringes, do you, boo. But what I'm saying is, the point is, was a thought that I shared. And I thought I'm sharing what I was feeling, that I was sharing the thought with individuals who wouldn't want to have this conversation. Like when it comes to, don't judge a book by its cover. What if the book cover is designed to fit the so-called stereotype? Then I have nothing but the book. Then I have nothing but the cover to judge you by. I can't judge you by nothing else. Now, does that make it right for me to disrespect you or anything? No, I'm not saying it makes it right. But if I'm a police officer, and I'm just using this example. If I'm a police officer and I'm driving and I'm driving down, because I was thinking about this going to work. I work in Indian Hills, out there in Indian Hills area. Predominantly money. Very, very high prestigious community. Own police force. Anything happen in their community, they handle it. They don't go out for outside sources. So I was driving down the street and I was thinking about something. And I said, and I'm going to ask this question. Let me ask you guys this question and those that's listening. Let's say that you park in Indian Hills and you go into a store, right? And I'm not talking about the regular prejudice. I'm just think out loud. You're black. I want you to think about something. Let's say that you see me walk into the store behind you. This is what I have on. I have on a pair of Hey Dudes or a pair of polo loafers. I have on some very neat Ralph Lauren shorts, a nice Ralph Lauren polo. I'm well groomed, Let's say I'm shaven, I'm well groomed. I walk in behind you. I stand in line behind you. Am I gonna make you nervous? You black. Am I gonna make you nervous? Just think about my attire. You're not gonna be as nervous. You're not gonna be nervous, right? Same neighborhood. I walk in with jeans that's ripped up, they sagging. I got the muscle shirt on, my pants sagging. I got on Timberlands. Once again, the gold's in the mouth. I might have braids, or my hair might be everywhere. You know, I got gold chains on, and I'm standing in line waiting with you, just standing there waiting behind you. You smell me, I smell like weed, and I'm standing behind you. And I might be moving a little bit, like, you know, not being rude, but just, you know, moving a little bit. You might even hear me, you know, listening to some trap music. I might get my earbuds in if they loud enough and I'm listening. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Or I might have locks and twists and I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I ain't bothering nobody. Tatted up. Are you gonna clutch your purse just a little bit tighter? Because I'm behind you. You're gonna feel uncomfortable, right? Not knowing that the person standing behind you is a college graduate, has his doctorate degree. Has his doctorate degree, mind you, in education. They're a principal. It just happens to be their day off. They're on their way to get their hair braided. But before they go, they stop into the store. But because of the image that's put before you, you don't get it. You don't take the time to learn that, right?
Right.
But the person in the polo, they're rapists. They murdered 5 people before they came into the store, but they changed their clothes. They got a built-in meth lab in their house. But because of the image that they portrayed themselves in, you're more comfortable. You're like, what this dude gonna do? He look like he like Taylor Swift. I mean, what are he gonna do to me? Not knowing that not knowing that person could be one of the most dangerous criminals out. Yes, ma'am.
And you know, it's so true. It reminded me when I used to go out to do door to door, like the Winton Terrace, different places.
Right.
I would dress up. I wanted to blend in. Because I didn't want to stick out like a sore thumb.
Right, exactly. You go in there with a suit on, you're like,
Hey, she
oh, she got some money. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Oh, she got money. Oh, he got money. You know.
And then to add to that, I had bought a brand new 1993 Nissan Altima Road rims around it. I had came back to the car, and the glare of the sun looked like the windows was busted out. I'm like, coming back over here.
Exactly. So when it comes to judging a book by its cover, what I was trying to do was just to show that, or for us to think about more so, when you judge a book by its cover, you can't help but judge it by what it presents. So if I present myself as somebody, if I come up to you, I could be a college educated person, but every time you hear me, I'm effing, I'm F this, MF, you S's, you ain't S's, every word I'm dropping all type of foul language. What is the saying? That if you see a wise man and a fool arguing, you won't be able to tell the difference, will you? They look like two fools, don't they? Arguing. So it's what's perceived. And what and once again, I'm not telling what a woman should wear, because that's not what I'm doing. Because obviously, that's what some people might think, but I'm not telling you what to wear. All I'm saying is, if you want to be preserved, if you want to be perceived as someone important, number one, you have to know that you're important. And I will say this: no, clothes don't make you. Clothes don't make you. What clothes basically do are the things that you wear. They don't make who you are. They just give the world something to perceive you as. That's what clothes do. Because there are people that walk around with the George shirts from Walmart, but they got billions in their account. Because they would much rather invest in money than invest in themselves, in the sense of their clothing. And then when it's time to high stepper out, you see them wearing the Italian tailor-made suits with the Gucci loafers, and they stepping out. You're like, whoa, you didn't look like that. You had on some old cut-up shorts. And my wife shared a story with me one time. She likes Prince. I think it's a Prince concert. She went to a Prince concert. My wife said she had spent all this money on her hair and clothes, and they ended up sitting next to this white couple who they had on torn jeans, a regular old t-shirt, and she looked at them and she said they had just as much fun as I did, and here it is, I spent all this money. That's just like with me, with a marriage. I would much rather spend more money on the honeymoon than the wedding. Because how long is the wedding? Unless you just a prince, I don't know, princess. A wedding lasting 3 hours, that's not a wedding, that's an event. That's not a wedding, you stand before the people, your family see, you hug, you kiss, you eat, you dance, and then you're out. I would rather take that money and spend it on the honeymoon, because then the honeymoon is where I'm going to build my relationship with you. This is where we're going to grow, so we can build memories. The other one is good for pictures, where one is good for the mental stability of the relationship. That's just me though. But I didn't mean to offend anyone with the question, but I was just asking a question and making a point that when it comes to how you want to perceive, how you want to be perceived. Now, there are some people in the world that even if you wear a suit, they still gonna perceive you as what they gonna see you as. So I get it. But all I was just saying was, if a person judges you by the cover of your book, you put that cover there. So it's not necessarily their ignorance, because they're only given what's before them. Any other comments or questions on that? All right, very good. Okay, so now, excuse me. So let's go to Psalms 18. Let's go to Psalms 18. In the book of Psalms, chapter 18, there's just a couple verses that I want to go over. But one thing that I want to say to Israel, and that I had to realize too, was Israel is a very sensitive nation, easily to offend. But what I want to say is, I can say that because that was me. There are a lot of things that still offend me. No No one likes being yelled at. Nobody likes being reprimanded. But I shouldn't have such a weak spirit that if someone does raise their voice at me, I become on the defense. Especially if I see them as no threat. That's something that we have to work on and get out of we got to get out the way of that. Yes, sir.
Like, when you mean like weak defense, like you mean like, can it be an example of a weak defense? Say if like somebody they're not really mad all the time. I mean you don't really see them mad all the time. They might get frustrated. Like say if you yell at them, they might get mad, and then the next time y'all see each other, it just go away. It was like the madness go away. Y'all go back to being normally what y'all be happy. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, you asked me a question and didn't answer it. So you made the work easy for me. But what I mean by that is that we should be able to communicate and talk with each other. Now, I'm not saying that we should go around and be disrespectful. Because one thing that I've learned, I was listening to my Elder Elisha, this morning. And he said, and he talks about winning souls and how you win souls. I used to have a demeanor when teaching that I thought I had to fit. I thought I had to be like Minister Yoel in order for people to listen to me, in order for people to feel me. But I don't. I have my own teaching style. I'd rather keep calmness than to be in here hollering and screaming. Not to say that's what was going on, but to be that type. I felt that I had to be a monster. Not mean, but just, because, that's what I thought. But I don't. Not when I watch my Elder Ezekiel. He could cut you up just as smooth and keep his composure. But I also watch my elder too. And I respect all of my teachers. I do. And I'm not just saying this, but the one that I have the most love for is Elder Ezekiel. Because he kept his cool no matter what. There was a few moments that he might, but you could see it coming. But it was very few and far beyond. Because most of the time he kept his composure. And I have respect for him, and I always, Yah willing, will for that. Because I learned that I can talk to you and not have to treat you like you're stupid. Just because I'm a teacher don't mean I know everything. But I don't ever want to shy people away from asking questions or making comments. Because that's how we grow. That's how we learn. And if you disagree with me, if I explain it twice and you still disagree with me, now I have to have the mindset of, okay, well, we'll move on. We'll move on. But nothing that I say, I ain't going to say nothing because I don't know what offends people, but I had to learn that I have to have a strong spirit, especially doing this. Especially doing this position here, I can't be weak. But praise Yahweh, for he is righteous.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's something that I've learned, and I think a lot of people might want to go on. Don't react to everything. Try to be more proactive.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's what I've been working on.
Yes, ma'am. You're right. You're right. Because when we're reactive, like I'd rather say that energy for somebody trying to hurt my family. You coming at my wife, or you coming at my daughters, or you coming at somebody in here that I love. I'd rather use that energy to help protect than to, protect my so-called pride, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm dealing with. All right. In the book of Psalms 18, we're going to pick up at verse 11. So tell me, you mind starting at verse 11 for me?
He made darkness his hiding place, his pavilion round about him. Darkness of waters, thick clouds of sky.
Now pause. Now, what this verse is letting us know is the psalmist is letting us know that there's no place too dark, no place too high that Yahweh doesn't see us and where he can't get to us. So when we're dealing with situations, we have to know that every place we are and everything that we're going through, Yahweh is there. There's nothing that stops Yahweh. He stops himself. Verse 12.
Brightness before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Yah has also thundered in the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. He sent out his arrows and scattered them, yea, lightnings manifold, and discomforted them. Then the channels of waters appeared, and the foundations of the world were laid bare. At thy rebuke, O Yah, and the blast of the breath of thy nostrils.
Now, this psalmist is giving us the description and the power of the Most High. The one that we're here to edify today. Continue reading.
He sent from on high, he took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from them that hated me, for they were too mighty for me. They came up in my day of my, and they came upon me in the day of my calamity. But Yahweh was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. Yahweh rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanliness of my hands hath he recompensed me.
Now, when we'll stop at verse 21. That's why it's beneficial to work to become more righteous than anything else. Because you get rewarded according to your righteousness. Your righteousness could be how you talk, how you carry yourself. Once again, fitting into that image. When it comes to serving Yahweh, nobody says that you have to walk around here dressed like you making billions, but you want to perceive, if it's one thing that I want the world to see, is that I got an Elohim that loves me. And you do that through your actions, through how you carry yourself. Because when you look at how the priests looked, they were sharp, they were flawless. Beards. I'm going to tell you who reminds me of what the Levites would look like. At the other house of Israel on Kemper, Brother Mikael, the tall brother. Because he had on the gear one time, I said, I bet you that's how Levites looked. And he's just tall, dark-skinned brother. Very nice-looking brother. Beard, locks. And I said, man, I bet that's how our Levites looked. You would think, now he would be like, I ain't flawed. But you would think, like, if I had an image of someone today, that's who I would show as being what a Levite would look like. Very neat, very well kept individual. But how we carry ourselves is going to be how we're rewarded. You do good, get good. You do bad. Now, with me saying that, excuse me, what about people who do bad but get good? Are they being recompensed according to the righteousness of themselves? ask these questions because people who are becoming spiritual will see the wicked prosper and be like, hold on, how they gonna prosper? And here it is, I'm trying to do good and I'm struggling. That's something to think about. And read verse 21 in essence.
For I have kept the ways of Yah, and have not wickedly departed from my Elohim.
Praise Yahweh. So I'm going to ask a question before we get ready to adjourn for the first portion of class. I'm going to ask a question. And I would like each person in here, where your brother at? Is he okay? I'm going to ask this question, and I want everyone to answer. Why are you here? What is your agenda? Just listen to the question, black man. Don't be the proverbial black person that don't listen before, Come on now.
Okay.
All right. Why are you here at the house of Yahudah? Why are you online watching the house of Yahudah? What is your purpose? Why are you here? I want you to think about it, because you will raise your hand and then ask me a question of my question. So I want you to think about what I'm asking. Why are you here? And you can be totally transparent as you possibly want to be. Why are you here? Why do you feel that Yahweh is important enough? Let me throw that in there. Why do you feel that Yahweh is important enough that you will come into this building, into this room, to spend a day hearing about him, learning and growing and becoming closer to him? Why are you here for that? And once you think about it, I'll take your answer. And it can be totally honest. A person can say, I don't know. Then that's totally honest. But what is your agenda? What are you hoping to accomplish by coming here? Yes, sir. Now, if you ask me a question off of my question, I'm going to pass you up, because I was real clear in my question.
Alright, I'm gonna just be real. Why I'm here is because I have to come here. Seriously, I'm gonna be real. It's boring. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's boring. I have to come. Probably if I had a choice of not coming, I probably might not come.
My question wasn't the reason why you're not coming. The purpose of my reason, you answered it. You said you have to come. So why do you feel like you have to be here? Because we have 3 other congregations that you can go to. I don't hold nobody here. If you're bored, I understand it. That's why the early part of the day we go kind of fast, and then we break bread together to kind of give us a break. But if it's boring. But if it's boring, hey, okay, well, you can go to other congregations.
It'll be the same thing. Like at the other class, I went to sleep there until it doesn't make a difference.
Okay, well, I don't know what to do to make it interesting, because we have some real deep topics, But, okay, you feel like you have to be here. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be here. That's why that door don't lock. What about you, Brother Tamara?
I was talking about right answer now. But, I don't know. I've lived my life how I've lived it. At this point, I would much rather strengthen and build a relationship with the Most High, and know I can stand with Him in truth.
And I'll explain why I'm asking these questions. Sister Angela, same question.
Well, coming on what my son just said, I'm starting to think that me and him, we are a lot alike. But I would get bored going to, I was raised Baptist.
Right.
And, being younger and going to church, I would get bored easily. And I would, doze lot of younger people is hard, for them.
So my question is, so what brings you back here?
What brings me here is to support my son, and I'm learning.
Very good. Praise Yahweh. What about you?
Because Yahweh had chosen me to be one of his people.
Okay. Because Yahweh chose you to be one of his people. Very good. My elder?
Well, I come because I want to come. I want to be here.
Mhm.
I want to learn more about the Almighty. One of His commandments, He made me so that I can honor Him. Because if He had not made me, I wouldn't be here. So I want to be here. I want to be here.
Praise
How
Yahweh.
come? My husband passed away. I was here the following Shabbat.
You sure was.
And my son. And my granddaughter. So I come because I want to be here. And as far as being bored, I'm not bored because I learn something new all the time. And I enjoy it. I enjoy being here.
Praise Yah. So, why you come here, man? Like, why do you, like, on the Sabbath day, why do you come to either if you're here or the other class? Why?
Because Yahweh sanctified this day, he rested on his day. He sanctified this day, he rested on this day. And, praise Yah.
Praise Yahweh. Very good answer. All the answers were very great and very candid. And I can appreciate the candidness in your answers. So for those that say they were bored, this question won't fit you. But are those reasons that was just given for you being here, is it enough to keep you with Yahweh? I'm not saying be tied to the house of Yehuda, to the house of Israel. I'm talking about, are these reasons enough for you to be tied to Yahweh? Yes, sir.
It's crazy. So before I actually became more committed with coming to class, I used to ask myself, if you have a conversation with a Christian that's been a Christian their whole life, they'll tell you that they'll tell you that Christ is the Lord and Savior and everything is contributed to Him.
Mm-hmm.
And the same if you do the same with somebody who's a Buddhist or a Hindu or all these other religions. If you ask them, they'll tell you yeah, my God is the real God. It came to a point where you had to really ask, and I've been reading the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff you were saying, not so many books make the claims that the Most High make. He'll tell you, yeah, I'm the one and true living creator. I created the world. It was my hand. Just the comments that's made in there to tell you, it is a higher power to all of this.
And praise Yahweh. And you know what, Tam? I remember you, man. Of course you know that. But you was always intellectual type, though. Your sisters and your brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Uriah. When I met him, he was little. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know this, but I knew your mom and y'all before everything. I used to see them at the bus stop, and I'm gonna tell you something. I know Tamara talk about, we all done went through things, but this young man right here, when he would be with his sisters, man, they would be respectful. Y'all were a family. And I noticed that. So then when I met her, when I saw her again, it hit me I know her, because I would see her downtown sometimes, and I would see that. Now for those that say that they're bored, for one, the one thing I will do is I'll say that we're not a church. We're totally different. How I do things is totally different. I don't know no church that let the congregation read the scripture and then let them discuss it during the whole course of the church, unless it's Bible class. But it's okay to be bored. But then too, you're only going to get what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't ask questions, if you don't listen, and I know, Sister Angela, you listen and you ask questions, but Elijah won't. Or he'll ask questions, but it'll be off topic. And he'll be off the wall. I don't know what he talk about sometimes. That's just being transparent, but I understand it. Did I feel a way when, you hear that your class is boring? Yeah, I mean, I'm a human. I'm a teacher, but I'm a human. But I also understand too that there are individuals out here that want this and how I'm teaching it. And they present themselves and they participate. I have an open class. I even asked, what topics would you like me to talk on? Some of the topics you want to discuss don't have nothing to do with, some of the things. We can talk about that, in our general conversations. But, Sister Angela, go ahead, sister.
Yeah, and I think too, especially with a lot of the younger people, it just takes, growth because
I agree
for
with
people to
that.
say that, oh, I'm bored because I'm in church, and even I admit when I was younger, I would get bored.
Real talk.
But a lot of people need to understand, especially the young ones, even my granddaughter sitting here, that not every day is going to be full of fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you go to work, you're bored. I know plenty of days that I'm bored at work and I'm ready to go now. And even in school, you're bored.
Mm-hmm.
Not every day is going to be full of laughter and playing around. That's just not how things operate. So he needs to get used to it. He's learning. He's growing, and same with my granddaughter here. And actually, she's with me today because she, was, I guess, bored at home. She didn't want to stay at home, so she's here with me. But yeah, what I'm hearing him say, I've heard it, work, school, especially school.
Mm-hmm.
He has this, and I'm not trying to, talk about my child, but he kind of has this, I call it an Eeyore syndrome. You know who Eeyore is?
Yes.
Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
He always walked around with that "woe is me," mentality, just always kind of feeling sorry for himself, kind of depressing. And I hope that I'm not contributing to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of blame myself sometimes for that. And I try to encourage him to, if you're really feeling that way, that, you need to get out more, mingle, and, try to meet up with different people. And, I just don't want them just moping around and then feeling like that all the time.
Right.
So I don't think that's an issue with just the class being boring. That's more an issue within himself that he needs to work on.
Right. And you know what? I mean, I fell asleep in a couple of lessons too. So I ain't saying, I get it. But we do want to we do want to, like when your granddaughter do come, we working on having more activities so that it's more engaging. Because I like the engaging part. That's why I like to add in the food part, because then that way we all can engage and we can eat, we can talk, we can just, enjoy the Sabbath, because the last thing you want somebody to do is to feel unsatisfied. Because if you're bored, you're not learning. Are you concentrating in on, not you per se, but like when you're bored, it's kind of like, I just want it to be over.
But if you're bored everywhere you go, then that's
right.
Something you need to, that's something within you.
And you know what? You're absolutely right about that, because that is something within you. You're right. So even if, well, I guess I realized that. Because even if I were to get clowns and party favors and we partying, man, I'm so bored. That's something that's within you. So you're absolutely right about that. You're right.
I just wanted to say something else because I'm thinking about it. This happened years ago.
Uh-huh.
I think before I even had him. And I went to, I don't know which denomination, but I think the church was, I don't even want to say where it was. But I went with a friend.
Yes, ma'am.
And basically all they did was dance. Like the pastor would get up and say a few words. Well, actually, his idea of giving a sermon was to show us something on TV.
Oh.
So we were watching like a video of like someone giving a 5-minute sermon or whatever. And then the people would just get up and start dancing, and they all in the aisle dancing like they were in a club. I kid you not. And me and my friend, we just looked at each other like, okay, what's going on here?
This church was in Cincinnati?
Yes, and I'm gonna say it was in Lincoln Heights.
Okay.
So I don't know, I don't remember the name. This was
Okay.
years ago.
Right.
I couldn't tell you exactly where it was, but it was in the Lincoln Heights area.
Right.
Well, I had never seen anything like it before. I've seen choirs sing. I've seen people, get the Holy Ghost and start.
Mhm.
But that was an experience. It was different because that's all they did for the whole entire.
Was dance.
Yeah, and I mean they were. Excuse my language. They were getting down, like they were in a club, and my mouth just dropped.
Right. That's kind of scary a little bit. You just
I don't
you
know
sitting there like, hey man, then all of a
If
sudden,
that was their way to keep
Wow.
getting bored, I don't know, but that was something else, and I didn't go back after that. I was just kind of shocked.
wow, that's kind of that is jarring. Like after every sermon, like, hey man, and you be
Pretty
like,
much, yeah.
like, hallelujah. You're like, hey, you sitting there calm, like, okay, the sermon was deep, but it wasn't that deep, sister. Put your dress down. What you doing? Get off the pew. But yeah, that's deep. But okay then. So, well, thank everyone for their candidness.
I just want
Oh,
to
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
real quickly.
Sure.
Where I work at, the owner wanted me to express what could be done differently. Okay, every morning we have group time. They do the ABCs, they do the shapes, they do the numbers, they sing the days of the week. It's the same old thing, day after day. And I told her that children, like adults, get bored. And they do. And so what I did, what I might have to do in here, this is what I did to spice it up so the kids wouldn't get bored. I said, stand up, arms to your side, like a soldier. I said, attention. They were on point. They was on point, marching like soldiers, aware, watching me, being focused. Because children and adults, we all get bored. Sometimes I feel like I'm be falling asleep. Not all the time though, maybe if I didn't get enough sleep. So I like what you're doing with keeping us engaged so that we don't I'm not bored. I mean, to read the scriptures, we taking verses, talking about them. So it's just different things that we can do maybe to, but like Sister Andrea said, sometimes it could be within yourself. It might not just be what you're doing or what they're doing at other classes.
Praise y'all. I know that if I do anything else, it's gonna be me just saying hi and everybody else is talking on the mic. I'm pretty open. This class is super open. We talk about different topics and subjects. Some of the subjects just be things off of thought, what some people might think or feel, or I might like with the book cover thing, I ask at the end of class when I ask about what you guys want to learn about, so I try to be open that way, but I'm getting to a point now in my life that it is what it is. I'm done trying to please Israel. I just make sure that I'm doing what I need to do and that I'm teaching the Almighty, because I would let it consume me. Like, well, I'm doing so much. How could But I'm not concentrating on that because it's people that's listening. And if the people, for those that find me not interesting, that's fine. There's 3 other places you can look and log into. And there's a plethora of other places, but I'm doing differently. I'm doing good. I like what I do. I like opening up and having conversations, and I love when like Sister Angela bring up different points, and when Tamara and when you come in, Elder, and y'all bringing up points, and I'm trying to pull it out the fellas back there. But if people want to be, if I don't interest everyone, hey, everybody don't like apples. That's all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pray out. Tamara, you mind leading us out in a prayer, or are you making a cocktail to throw through somebody's window?
I was just trying to get rid of my trash.
Oh, I was back there like, did I say something to inspire that? All right. Hold on 1 second, nephew. Let me do this real quick. Hold on. Apologize, man. Wait a minute. Okay, go ahead, my brother.
Heavenly Father, Yahweh Elohim, first and foremost, so thank you for allowing us to see another blessed, victorious Shabbat, oh Yah. As we go into this day, I pray may be with us. Should we guide, protect, control us, should we keep us. So that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding be upon us this day, oh Yah. For we're applying to our day and diligence. And Father Yahweh, I pray that we may keep our foot on this Shabbat. We're speaking not our own words and not find our own pleasures. Do that which is right to allow sections of judgment, so Yah. Praise thy holy name. Hallelujah.
Blessed be Yahweh. Yahweh, bless us and keep us. Yahweh, make your face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. Yahweh, lift up your countenance upon us and give us peace. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
Yah is righteous.
Yah is righteous.
Yah is holy.
Yah is holy.
And let Yahweh be magnified.
And let Yahweh be magnified.
Amen. All right, we're going to take a small. Well, it's not a small break. We're gonna take a break. Y'all willing, we'll return back at 3:30 with the next portion of our Sabbath services. I have 3 brand new trivia questions that's really, really good to me. And we're gonna dove into some things that I didn't get to finish last week. We're gonna deal with wisdom. I think this week we're talking about Job 5, but we did Job 4 last week. So we're gonna deal with that. So y'all willing, if it's y'all will, come on back and join us again because we appreciate you. So may y'all bless us and keep us. Praise Yahweh. Shalom, shalom.